Hello, everyone. My name is Malik Henderson. I'm a senior strategic advisor, and thank you all for coming to today's webinar. And today's session will be focused on accounting, and I'll be providing a high-level overview of Odoo's different accounting features and how it integrates with the other applications. As an agenda for today, we'll discuss a little bit about why Odoo, right? We'll talk about those different applications, how robust the accounting platform is, as well as being easy to use. Next, we'll discuss some of the basics, such as your chart of accounts, your different journals, and how we can get that set up in Odoo. From there, we'll dive into features such as streamlining your accounts payable by creating vendor bills, using our OCR technology to automatically digitize bills that vendors may send you, as well as issuing invoices to clients. From there, we'll talk about the different applications that accounting will integrate with. And then we'll talk about the different reports and customizations that we'll be able to make in the system. After all of that talking and the slides are over, we'll dive deeper into the software itself, and I'll show you all how it works. So we have three major value propositions at Odoo. One is being intuitive. Our goal is to make your business system, whether it be accounting, inventory, or manufacturing, as easy to use for all of your employees as possible. Second main benefit of Odoo is that the system is fully integrated. So all of your different departments, needs, functions are all in one place. So you no longer need to connect and try to tie in multiple different softwares all into one, just making your business more efficient. And then finally, the high level of customization that Odoo has to offer. If you're not able to find something at Odoo or out of the box, we like to say that Odoo by default is able to cover 90% of your needs. And we bridge that last 10% with our studio application so we could tailor the system more to your business and how you run things. Now, if we look at some of our basics, we're going to be talking about the localizations, how we could set it up based on where you're located, setting up our different charts of accounts, and how Odoo will do that for us. We'll have the option to either import our own current chart of accounts or use the ones provided by Odoo that come out of the box. From there, we'll focus on our bank sync, in which you'd be able to connect directly to your bank. So you could upload your bank transactions to Odoo automatically, making it easier for your reconciliation process, as we know that can be a terribly mundane task, taking hours, even weeks sometimes. The workflows that will be covered, as I mentioned, we'll talk about the accounts payable, accounts receivable, the bank reconciliation, and then our analytic accounts. Our analytic accounts are going to be used for more granular financial reporting. As far as the accounting features and the example workflows that I'll be going over today, we're going to take a look at our OCR along with the three-way matching and how that's handled in Odoo. We're going to see what it's like to invoice our customers super easy, as well as see those automated follow-ups that we could create. We'll cover the reconciliation process and automating this process with reconciliation rules. And we could take the guesswork out of your sales tax by utilizing Avalara Ava Tax. With this feature, we'd be able to sort of automate and map your tax records and information. We're going to take a look at being able to pay your vendors with our Nacha payments. So our Nacha payments will be able to easily facilitate ACH payments directly to your vendors. And last but not least, of course, track your financials with our analytic accounts. And we're going to talk about the apps that are going to manage your needs. So all of these flows, they're really going to take the time and double work out of everything you're doing now by seamlessly integrating into the other applications. So, for example, we have our manufacturing and inventory applications, which our accounting module integrates with. And with this, our stock moves will be able to reflect on the balance sheet in real time. As far as our different sales channels, such as our website e commerce, point of sale system, or sales orders if we're sending out quotes directly to customers, all of these sales channels will flow directly into your accounting application and automatically create those journal entries for you. As far as our purchase and expenses, those are our different procurement channels that also flow directly into accounting. If you're a business that has multiple companies, you are able to operate on Odoo with our multi-company setup. Now, if those multiple companies, the different companies have separate charts of accounts, we'd be able to consolidate all of those different financial records with our consolidation app. Last but not least, we'll see a combination between the contacts and the documents module, where we'll be able to use our OCR technology to automatically digitize bills into the system. Finally, we'll dive into our customizations and reports to show you how flexible the system can be when you need to, create reports that are similar to you, how you want to view specific things. All right, now it's time for the demonstration. It's time to dive into the software. Perfect. Give me 1 second, take a sip of water here. So right now, this is the demo database that I'll be working out of. If you're new to Odoo, this is what you're going to see when you first log into Odoo. Different applications, sort of similar to your mobile device. Difference is with the Odoo applications, they're actually all interconnected. So basically what that means is whatever I do in my sales is going to update in my accounting, update in my purchasing, and so forth. Now, the first thing we want to do when coming into Odoo and setting up our accounting module is sort of dive into the settings. In the settings, by default, Odoo comes as simple as possible. We don't want it to be too cumbersome for users when first starting. So to the left, you'll see all of your applications that you have installed. And if I hop onto my accounting module, here you'll be able to see your fiscal localization, being able to initially set up your charts of accounts. So you could review manually, right, for your end of year balances or import for the full history. As far as your different tax configurations, you see we have our default taxes that we could select from, our integration with Ava Tax, which will automatically allow you to automatically map or file your taxes. And scrolling down the different currencies, Odoo does support a multi-currency function. So if we need to take a look at currency differences, we'd be able to do so by managing our currencies here. And then scrolling down, these are more so our accounts receivable and accounts payable information, such as our different customer payments, whether we want to have customers be able to access their invoices online and pay. The different vendor bills, you could select all of these different settings, really depending on how you do things. So hopping out of settings, we're going to hop into our apps. In order to find your specific localization, we easily just get rid of this filter here, type in accounting. And if I scroll down, Odoo has a wide selection of different localizations for you to choose from. Today, we'll be looking at the US accounting. So hopping right into our accounting dashboard or accounting application. First thing we see on our dashboard are our different journals. Now, this can be customized to however you'd like to see. By default, Odoo will have the favorites tab here that we could always deselect to take a look at every single one of our journals. Now, in order to configure or change the amount of journals that we have here on our dashboard, we could hop into configuration and then dive into our journals. Here's where we'll be able to set it up. If we'd like to create a new one, we easily just click the new button here. Taking a look at our customer invoices journal, we see we have our default income account that's going to hit, and then any dedicated credit note sequences. If I need to see all of the journal entries associated with this specific journal, we simply just click through using our smart button where we're able to see our debits and credits for this specific record. In our configuration menu, we're also able to see our different, where we configure our taxes, as well as our chart of accounts. Now, these are Odoo's default chart of accounts, where we can allow for reconciliation or import our own chart of accounts if we'd like to. Odoo is going to walk you through step by step, and the order of process is to take when setting up your accounting within Odoo. So here, we could see we import our contacts, chart of accounts, and then journal items as well. And Odoo is going to provide you with a template to make that import process as simple as possible. Next thing I want to touch on before we sort of get into our accounting workflows is our contacts. Your contacts are essentially going to be anyone associated with your business. So all of your customers, your vendors, employees, we can all find them consolidated in our contacts. Now, the reason why I hopped into contacts here is just going to add some context as we start going through our workflows. In our contacts, we're able to set up our different payment terms, different price lists that we want to provide our customers, so we don't necessarily have to change it manually every time. That could be their default setup for a specific contact. Now, in this specific record, we have our business or vendor deco addict, along with our multiple points of contact. If I click on add here, we have our invoice address, delivery address, as well as our follow-up address. In terms of follow-up, this is what we can enable for the email to be sent to, or the person that we need to follow up with when we configure our automated follow-ups for overdue invoices. Along in the contact, we see other smart buttons such as your sales history, purchasing, really depending on what applications you have installed in your database. You're able to see it all consolidated in one place. So as far as everything that we have invoiced the client or everything they have due, we're easily able to hop in and see these potential records. Now they have some records here that do seem to be overdue, which we'll sort of try to reach out and get that payment as quickly as possible in one of our workflows. Moving over to the sales and purchase tab, we can see this integrates directly with our sales and purchasing modules, where we're able to assign specific payment terms, add a specific price list. So maybe we give them a special 20% off every time. We could create a price list rule that automatically applies for deco addict. As far as tax information, we could add their fiscal position or utilize our AVA tax to automatically know, to let the system automatically know what to tax the specific contact, so we don't need to do that manually. And same thing goes for purchasing. So all of the payment terms, payment methods in which you use, you're able to access that here via the contact application. All right. Now that contacts is done, we're going to go ahead and start our workflow. The first example that I'm going to go through is creating a bill and seeing how the three-way matching works in Odoo. Perfect. That's some good water. So we're going to hop into our purchase module. And here I already have a PO drafted up. So essentially what we did was we created an RFQ, turned it to a PO, and here is the product information that we put in. So we're letting our vendor know that we need 30 items of our large cabinet. Now we could go ahead and send that out. Perfect. And let's say the vendor went ahead and confirmed, gave us the expected arrival date, and we're going to go ahead and confirm. Upon confirmation, we'll see a couple things happen. One, we see a receipt was automatically generated, which our warehouse team is going to take care of, as well as our received and billed. We notice that the quantity is 30 and received is 0, as well as billed. So if I go into our received products, and let's say that we only received 15. So let's go ahead and validate this. The system is going to prompt us to create a back order because we didn't receive the full amount. Perfect. Clicking back using my breadcrumbs, I'm going to go to that PO. Now we see the numbers updated a bit. Now we see that our receive says 15, while our billed is 0. So now we have the next logical highlighted steps. One is either to receive the rest of the products or create a bill. If I go ahead and create the bill and scroll down, Odoo is going to prompt us to create the bill for 15 automatically, but if I change the number and try to go to 30, and I go over to my other info tab, Odoo is going to let us know should it be paid or not. Notice that it says exception. If I go back to the invoice line and I change it to 15, the system is going to let us know that yes, it should be paid. So it's going to give you an update of, or let you know whenever a bill should be processed. So going ahead, we're going to process the units for 15. Always remember to add your bill date, very important. Perfect. Looks good. We're going to go ahead and confirm. Now, if we go back to that PO, we see that the number updated to 15 billed because we had 15 received. Now I'm going to go ahead and process that second reception. Perfect. And let's go ahead and validate that remaining 15 that we have. Going back, we see that we have another highlighted create bill because we received 15. Now that number updated to 30. And we need to create a bill for the remaining 15. Perfect. Awesome. Now, the final step of this workflow is essentially to register the payment. Now, there's a few different options in which you can choose an Odoo of how you want to register your payments. We could go ahead and pay manually, create checks, or utilize the Notcha file to pay directly to your vendor. In this case, we're just going to go ahead and print a check. Perfect. Now you see that the banner goes ahead and changes to end payment. If I go to all of my POs, I'm able to see the billing status over here to the right, where we're able to see whether it's fully billed, whether there's nothing to bill, or whether there's waiting bills because we haven't paid the full amount. So that was example number one. Next thing we're going to hop into is our documents module. So we could take a look at that OCR technology and see how Odoo is able to digitize bills that are sent to us by our vendors. Perfect. In the documents module, to the left, you see you have your different workspaces. Workspaces can be your different departments that are associated with each document. As far as my finance, I see that I have all of my invoices that were sent to me by my vendors. So I could go ahead and click into one. And you notice that by clicking into one, we're prompted with different actions here, right? What we're going to go ahead and do is essentially just create a vendor bill. Perfect. So now we see the option by uploading it automatically populated, and we can actually digitize the document, which is being read by our AI technology. Now, important to note that the OCR functionality does learn over time. So if it doesn't get it right perfectly the first time, the more we use a similar document, the more it's going to be accurate. Perfect. So now we're just going to go ahead and confirm the order, because with the OCR, it automatically filled in the specific line items. Perfect. Because we already registered the payment, we won't go through that flow again. Perfect. Now, next thing we'll move into is issuing our customers invoice. So moving over to our accounts receivable side. And there's a few different ways we can generate an invoice, one being directly from the accounting module, or two, more typically, from the sales application. So we could go ahead and hop into sales here, and we'll just make a new order. We'll type in the customer information, and then we'll add a specific product. And let's actually go ahead and use that conference table that we were using earlier. Perfect. And let's go ahead and create a sales order for 20. If we go ahead and confirm the sales order, and based on your configuration and your invoicing policy, really depends on, do we create an invoice when an order is created or after the delivery, so after the customer receives the quantity. So it looks like in this example, we're going to go ahead and just process that delivery here. Awesome. Now we see that the create invoice is highlighted, so we're able to move forward with that invoice. Now, essentially, we would just go ahead and click on the create invoice, and we're actually going to collect a down payment. So in Odoo, you're able to create separate invoices and collect down payments as well. So let's say we wanted to collect 20% of this initial order. Awesome. We'll see that Odoo gathered the 20%, which it automatically calculated. And we could go ahead to confirm. If I click back to the sales order, we'll see that if we create that next invoice, Odoo is going to tell us what's already been invoiced and the amount to invoice that's remaining. Now we could do an additional down payment, but in this case, we're just going to send the invoice for the remaining amount. Perfect. Now in Odoo, your customers are provided with a customer portal where they're able to access all of their invoices, sales orders, anything associated with their account that they can access and pay through a portal at any time. So by clicking on preview, we're going to be prompted with the specific invoice of the client, and this is what they're going to see. And they could go ahead and click on the Pay Now or download the invoice and process their payment information. Now, Odoo is going to integrate with Stripe and Authorize.net as your credit card providers. Perfect. Now, if I go ahead and duplicate this tab, perfect, and hop into my account, here's where your customer will be able to log in. You can provide them access to see all of their information, update payment methods, and so forth. So if I click on all of my invoices, I'm able to see what was reversed, so what I got a refund on, everything that's paid, and then anything else that's also awaiting payment. Clicking back into our backend, now we're going to talk about an example where a customer may be overdue or late on their invoices, and we need to automate that follow-up process. So if I go into my accounting application and I click on my customers tab here and go down to my follow-up reports, we're able to see that Joel Willis has some invoices that have been unpaid or are overdue. We see a list of 46 invoices in total. Now, as far as the automated follow-up report goes, if we open up our configuration and hop into our follow-up levels, this is where we could set up that automation. Here I have some different follow-up levels ranging from 15 to 60 that I have pre-configured, but hopping into one, we can set up different templates for these specific alerts. So do we want to remind them 15 days? Do we want to send an email, send a letter, or an SMS? As well as selecting your email template that you want to send as well. You can attach the previous invoices that they have, as well as automate this. So once the overdue date reaches 15, Odoo is automatically going to send an email out to anyone who is late on their invoices. Now hopping back into our customer follow-up, Joel Willis, we'll see all of the overdue invoices that we have consolidated. If we needed to exclude specific invoices from follow-ups, you could simply just click on the button and it'll go ahead and exclude this specific invoice. Maybe we only want a specific amount to be paid or so forth. So in this scenario, Joel Willis has let us know that he would like to pay all of his overdue invoices at once. Now let's see how we can accomplish that in Odoo. If I go ahead and click on my invoices tab up here, and I'm going to filter out for all of my overdue invoices. We're able to see what's not paid. Now I'm simply going to click on all of these belonging to Joe Willis. And we're essentially going to consolidate that into one payment as he's sending us a check. Now, either way, if I click on group payments, it's going to combine all of the invoices memos so we know what this payment and all the invoices were for. Perfect. Now, what we just did was we went ahead and consolidated all of the overdue amount into one payment. And if I go ahead and check out my journal entry, it will automatically be reflected as well in our debits and credits. Next thing that we'll move into is our reconciliation process. and how Odoo is able to accomplish that very easily. And before we sort of get into the reconciliation process, we'll talk about our bank synchronization. So if I click on Connect Bank here, Odoo essentially will connect to your bank and then automatically upload those bank transactions and whatever happens to allow for the reconciliation process. So if I did Bank of America, you can select what your account type is, whether it's business, personal, or corporate. We utilize the third-party app or third-party provider Yodlee, or you could also connect via Plaid. Now, if you're not able to find your bank here for some reason, you could always have the option to record your transactions manually through a simple import, or connect a bank that doesn't exist. Now, as far as the reconciliation goes, it looks like I have 9 different items to reconcile. So we're quickly just going to hop into those items. Now, from what we see, Odoo is automatically going to pull the matching amount that lines up with our bank statement. For example, we have the bank statement and then the bill as it exists in Odoo with the different label information. As far as the reconciliation goes, all we simply need to do is validate. And we could do this process for the rest of our items as well that we need to reconcile as well. So it really speeds up that process. Let's say we're a company that has thousands and thousands of line items to reconcile. If we needed more automation in the system, we have something called reconciliation models. Now, in the reconciliation models, we could set up different rules that lead to more automation in the system. So for example, for our invoices and bills perfect match, we select our type, which matches our invoices or bills, whether that amount is paid or received, and then we can select a condition, right? So if it's lower than, let's say, $10,000, and we'd like it to auto reconcile. But anything above, we may need to take a manual look at it. And we can create as many reconciliation rules as we want, really just depending on your workflow and your business needs. And finally, just to wrap up, we're going to talk about the different reporting capabilities along in our accounting module. So if we go to reporting, we see we have our basic GAAP analysis reports, or GAAP compliant reports, such as our balance sheet, our profit and loss, cash flow statement, executive summary, as well as our tax report. Clicking into our profit and loss, if we needed to compare different periods, we could easily just click the comparison chart. And let's say we wanted to see the past 2 years. Odoo is going to pull that information rather quickly, as we could see here. So now we're able to see our P&L report of our operating income, cost of revenue, and then different expenses associated with it. As far as our granular reporting goes, we do have that analytic account feature, which we can add on to specific invoices, vendor bills, in order to generate that granular reporting. So for any accounts or any transactions that were linked to our customer Deco Addict, it would automatically populate here. And then we could even drill down into these specific records as well. Here we're able to see everything essentially associated with Deco Addict. Going back into reporting, we're going to take a look at our executive summary, which is something that is unique to Odoo, but will give you a full scope of your business, the overall profitability, everything at one quick glance. Now, if these reports are something that we need to customize further, as far as rearranging the order or pulling another journal in for reference, one thing we could do is simply hop out and then go into our settings and turn on our developer mode. Essentially, with developer mode activated, we're going to be able to adjust and make changes to those specific reports that come in, with Odoo out of the box. So now if I hop back in that P&L, and I see this little gear icon that's now available for me to click on. In this view, we're able to rearrange the order of these operations, or the order of these specific reports that show up. If we needed to add specific lines to pull in other information, we're definitely able to do so. We would just add in the specific information, whether it's a P&L account, assets, etc. In this view. Perfect. Awesome. So that's it for me today, everyone. Just to sum it up, everything that we covered today, really to make your business more efficient and more accurate across your financials. With Odoo, it's essentially a better user experience, faster processes, and stronger reliability. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me at mahe@odoo.com. Thank you, everyone.